Hello, everyone. My name is Ashritha, and I head the penetration testing services here at Accorian. Today, I have with me my colleague, James. James is on the business development side. Uh, James, do you want to say hi?
Thanks, Ashritha. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
He's the right person to discuss prepping for pen testing, as he gets asked a lot of these questions around pen testing by our clients, existing clients, and also potential clients. And let me quickly. So about Accordion. Accordion was founded because we saw that uh, there was a gap between what the enterprise could afford and what small businesses. There was difference in what they could afford, but the requirement for security testing was the same. So Accorian was founded. And Accordion is a cybersecurity services company. We are PCI ASV. We are high trust assessors. We are also SOC 2 assessors. We've worked on over 400 projects across pen testing, red team assessment, compliance assessments, and like HIPAA, high trust, etc. At Accordion, we've served a wide range of industries from healthcare, e-commerce, B2B tech, financial services, etc. All right. So what is pen testing? In layman terms, pen testing is exactly what hackers would do, but with a different intent. The intent is what is different here. The intent of a pen testing company is to help organization identify weaknesses and find security flaws uh, in order to help them mitigate it and also strengthen the security posture. So why pen testing? We just discussed that pen testing is exactly what hackers do with a different intent. So the primary reason, of course, is to keep hackers at bay, right? We want to identify the security issues and the flaws before any hacker identifies it and exploits them. Next is it gives you an understanding of the security posture. As a result of pen testing, you understand what kind of loophole can be exploited and the actual impact an attacker could have if a vulnerability or a flaw is exploited. This helps teams develop action plans, say like either mitigate it entirely or have action plans in place, like developing policies, having incident response in place in case of possible exploitation attempts. Pen testing could also be a compliance requirement. Most compliance certifications require organizations to carry out pen testing annually at the least. It could also be a legal requirement. Your companies that you want to do business with or you're already doing business with would expect you to carry out a pen testing just to ensure that there are no major critical or high vulnerabilities that affect the software or any tech that you're offering. And an interesting and an important reason could be trust in the software or any tech offering that you have. Knowing that a software is free of vulnerabilities will always give you an upper hand in building trust with the users of the services that you're offering. Another critical point I want to bring out today is pen testing can no longer be a point in time exercise where you do it annually, and it shouldn't be either. In this agile world where new features are being developed and pushed into production every other day, it is imperative that we carry out tests periodically, if not continually, to ensure that all the vulnerabilities that may have been introduced during any of these changes have been identified. Now that we've established why we need pen testing, let us move on to today's topic, how to prep for pen testing. The key factors to get the most out of pen testing is choosing your right security partner, identifying all the stakeholders, establishing a proper scope and objective or outcome, establishing the rules of engagement well in advance, discussing deliverables, and identifying low business activity period. So we'll discuss each of these individually in the coming slides. So selection of security partner. How do you find your security partner? What exactly do you need to look for, or what do you need to ask for? So a couple of things. Look up and see if the potential partner and their team has relevant experience in the service that you're looking for. So pen testing could be done for a wide range of things. And make sure that the vendor that you're going for has experience in what the kind of service that you exactly want. Ask for testimonials from the security partner. Ensure to do a reference check, talk to people, understand how their experience was when working with the prospective security partner that you're talking to. And of course, the cost. Discuss cost, terms and conditions, understand the nuances in the terms. For example, say, do you need a retest? Is the retest involved? Or is it already part of the deal that you're signing, and stuff like that. So yeah, this is about identifying the right security partner.
I have a quick question, Ashritha, if you don't mind.
Sure, James.
Question that I get posed a lot from potential clients. What kind of credentials should they be looking for in a security partner?
Right, good question. So credentials for security partner, apart from knowing the pen testing team, looking for their credentials, you can, and testimonials, of course, there are certifications like CREST, PCI ASV, which involves rigorous testing from the pen testing company. And then you become a PCISV. So there are credentials like this which you would want to ask for before you decide on your security partner. Is that all, James? Any more questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, perfect. So once you've decided on who your security partner will be, you'll have to identify stakeholders, mostly internal. So who should be involved in the pen testing process? Who are the key folks? So the one very important, all of them are important, but someone we generally miss out on is a representative from the management. So this is really crucial. Owner of the application or the infrastructure that you are testing or you intend to get tested. Second is the IT team. They need to be, party to the pen testing process, and then the service providers. So the service providers will also be a stakeholder, and it is important to get a green from the service provider for example, say you're using infra from Rackspace. So it is important that you get an approval from Rackspace for the pen testing. Without the approval, it is quite possible that the testing itself could be blocked, access could be blocked. So typically they could interfere with the entire testing process, and it would not be as seamless as you would want a pen testing to be. All right.
I have another quick question, Ashritha.
Sure, James.
A question that a lot of existing clients ask me: why should someone from management be involved in the engagement?
So pen testing, although requires only, say if you're doing a network pen test, you only require IP addresses, which an IT team can easily give, or application pen test where you can easily get the details from the tech team itself. But it's much beyond that. It requires time and effort from a lot of people, and mitigating issues requires a lot of effort. The approvals for those will always go back to management, of course, the cost being involved. So it's really essential that somebody from the management understands the entire pen testing process, and and get them actively involved so they know what is happening, what is the status. So yeah, that's why we need somebody from the management to be there. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Sure. All right. So now that we know the stakeholders, a very, very crucial step in the prep process is the scope and the objective. So this will typically decide what will be tested and how the test will be performed, right? So have a complete list of inventory with appropriate asset prioritization. With this information handy, it's easier to identify the assets you would want to get tested, or rather you would need to get tested. Have discussions with the pen testing partner to set objectives and share the expectations that you have. So some of the expectation you could share is if you really need to test the company's ability to detect intrusion, right? If you share this, there's a more realistic approach, and if you share this objective or this requirement, the pen testing team would, the kind of approach the pen testing team would take is completely different from what they would take without having this information. So share as much information as you can regarding your expectations. So another example could be the level of penetration testing you're expecting. Say the team found some credentials or identified some credentials by some means during the test. Would you expect further exploitation with this information, or would you just want the team to hold back? By default, it would be the former, where the team would go all out and carry out numerous tests with these credentials. But do you really want the team to do it? So these kind of expectations are better to be discussed before you start the pen testing, right? Make all such objectives very clear to your pen testing partners and perhaps your IT team as well. And ensure to keep the communication lines open so you get the most out of pen testing. That's about defining scope and objective.
Another quick question, Ashritha.
Sure, James.
When a client comes to me and says, well, you're the security partner, can't you define the scope? What's the best approach to that?
We do not, as pen testing partners, we do not have much insight on the kind or the scope, or rather the infra, the entire architecture that the clients have. So it's they could definitely discuss with the pen testing partner and get insights based on the experience that the team has. Of course, the pen testing team could tell them, help them with how to define the scope. But it is best, since they understand, since the clients understand their own infrastructure the best, it's ideal that they define the scope. But of course, you can consult with your pen testing partner.
Thank you.
Thank you, James. So next, establishing the rules of engagement. So this pretty straightforward, right? So you're going to give, if it's an application, you're going to give application data to your pen testing partner. So it's important that you understand where the data is being stored, for how long it's being stored, who has access to these kind of the data, the application data, or any data pertaining to your organization. And what kind of tests do you want to be performed? Do you want some features not tested? Do you want some kind of test to be not carried out? Maybe something that could affect availability, like DOS, DDoS. So get clarity on all of those. And call out testing time window if required, frequency of status updates. Are you expecting notifications to be sent after, when you start the scan, start the test, end of scan? So the frequency of everything, and then also share escalation metrics, which is really important, and the contact details. So yeah, this becomes really important. Next.
I have a quick question, if you don't mind, Ashritha, about rules of engagement.
Yes, James.
Once the rules of engagement are established, are you able to change them throughout the project, like halfway through the project? Can they be changed?
Good question, James. Of course, they can be changed, and it depends on the kind of rule you want to change, right? If it's about the time window, of course, those things can be changed. If it's about the point of contact being changed, that is something that is absolutely doable. But if after halfway through the engagement, you want a feature not tested, which in all probability could have already been tested, or if you don't want a certain test to be carried out, which may have already been carried out. So these are things that cannot happen if it's already been done and tested, right? So ideally, rules of engagement should be established before the start of the activity. But of course, they can be changed. Would I recommend it? No.
Thank you.
Thanks, James. So moving on, so the deliverables, right? So all tests and activities boils down to the report that you receive from your partner. That is the final end product. So discuss and understand the content of the report, get sample reports, look at them. If you're looking for any particular format of the report for whatever reason, or a certain piece of information that you want in the report, then work with the partner and ensure that, understand if it's possible and ensure to get it added. Go through sample reports and understand if all the details you're looking for are present in the report or in the sample deliverables that you see. So yeah, I think quickly talking about what all are present, what all should be present in a deliverable. All right.
Before we start the next one, I had a quick question again. A common question that I get asked is, when it comes to the pen test report, who should they share the report with? Just their internal team, investors, partners? Who should they share that report with?
Actually, I think everyone you mentioned would be interested to see a pen test report, because that's what shows that you've carried out a pen test and hopefully you have no vulnerabilities. That's the only way for someone to know. So you could ask for different kinds of reports that you could share with different set of people. If the technical report would really make sense, if to share it with internal tech team who would actually be looking at fixing the issues, where you try and give as much information as you can, starting from the vulnerabilities, what the vulnerability is, how did the test team identify the vulnerability, how do I mitigate it, what is the impact of the issue, and things like that. And then to the management, you would want to give an engagement report of sorts. They wouldn't need the details of vulnerabilities, but of course, they'd be interested to know uh, how many vulnerabilities, what is the actual business impact. That's what the management would want to know. So you would want to give a management executive summary or a management report to the leadership. To the customers and partners, maybe you could get a report which doesn't have any of these details, maybe just the security posture, overall security posture, how good the network or the application or the organization is, and uh, maybe at the most number of findings, because everyone would be keen to know if there are any open findings at all. So yeah, you could get different kinds of reports for different audience.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you. So identifying low business activity period, or identifying a period that is best for you to carry out the pen test, right? The best time is when two extremely important teams are available. One is the IT team to provide the required support to carry out pen testing. The time required, or the time that they would need to spend with the pen testing team, may not be too much, but in case of any issue, the IT team should be available and should have the bandwidth to help troubleshoot any issues that come the way. The second team is the tech team. So this is to fix the issues identified in the pen test. For the whole pen testing activity to actually be meaningful, it is important that the tech team has the bandwidth to go through the report, understand the report, and mitigate them. Otherwise, the entire pen testing activity becomes futile if you're only doing a pen testing and not fixing the issues that have been identified, right? So you want to do a pen testing when you're sure that these two teams are relatively free, or they have the bandwidth to take up the load of pen testing activity. All right.
Real quick,
That's
Ashritha.
sure, James.
So how much time, a common question I get is how much time is needed to fix the issues identified? I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you.
So it completely depends on the kind of issue that the test has identified or the test has uncovered, right? If it could be 10 issues, but the fix could be very trivial, and it would take probably a day at the most, and you could have just 2 issues in a report. But the fix could be making some major code changes, which would take days together. So it completely depends on the kind of issues that have been identified. So I don't think there's a fixed answer or a fixed timeline to it.
I figured that. Thank you.
Sure, you did. All right. Any more questions, James?
Yeah, I think we have some from some of the attendees. I see one right here that says, keeping budget constraint in mind, most of the time people opt to keep multiple assets out of scope. How can one decide perfect scope when budget is the constraint?
Could you repeat that for me, James?
How can how can someone how can someone decide perfect scope when budget is the constraint?
Okay, you could probably split it across. You could take a smaller scope to begin with, and then sort of do the others at a later point. Although I'd not completely recommend doing that, because for all you know, the issue could be in one of the things that you left for later. So ideally prioritize your assets, find the crown jewels, get them tested first, and then move on basis on the priority of the asset.
Okay. Another one we got here. How do we prioritize vulnerabilities in the sense of criticality, or the time taken to remediate?
Criticality. But I think business owners would still want to consider, say there's a high and a critical, and the high would take uh, 2 weeks to fix, and the critical would take just a patch or just 2 hours, or vice versa. I'd fix something that gets fixed in 2 hours first. So I know I have something out and it's fixed. So then I can concentrate on the rest. But criticality, yes. But also, if there's something that can be immediately fixed, I would quickly do that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have another one here from the attendees. This gentleman says, I've been getting a penetration test for my application conducted for 4 years now, and we hardly see new findings. Should we stop future tests or change things up?
Um, this is a very interesting question. Uh, so what you could do is just find out if the pen testing team is assigning the same person to carry out the tests. Ask them to change things up a little bit. You can ask the testing team, what are the newer test cases they have introduced, and what is it different that they're doing from the previous years. Do not stop testing. Um, a vulnerability could be introduced at any point. It's great that you're secure at the moment, but any small change could introduce an issue, and you don't want to be there.
Yeah. I have another one from some attendees. So, as for the engagement, does it need to be done after hours or just during low business activity?
It completely depends. If you've established that no exploitative test needs can be carried out in your scope and rules of engagement, then it's very unlikely that there would be an impact on business. So you don't have to do it off business hours, but yeah, it's a choice. But if you have clarity in scope, and if you've communicated that to your pen testing company that availability shouldn't be impacted, then I think you're taken care of. You don't have to wait. I mean, you don't have to do it off business hours.
I got you. This other one I have here is, does the size of the company and or industry change the objective of the testing?
The size of the company wouldn't matter, although the scope may be large. But the nature of business would partially impact or would change what, not change per se, but the way you would look at, what is important or critical to you would be different from what another industry may see. So in that way, it may be slightly different, but otherwise, generic data or sensitive information still remains the same. So it may not be very different.
And I have another one here. Thank you for that answer, Shritha.
Thanks, James.
When selecting a security partner for testing, how can you tell that the penetration testing is going to be thorough?
I think you could discuss first, check if the pen tester has the testing team itself has good certifications and credentials, good experience in testing. So get their resume, vet their resume, and that'll be your first thing. Second, try and identify, talk to the pen tester, understand what kind of testing they're going to carry out and how they're going to carry out the testing. So that should give you some information on the tests that will be carried out. Also in the report, you can try and get information regarding the tests that were performed. Try and understand if the coverage has been complete looking at the report. You can also, discuss post the pen testing activity. You can discuss what tests were carried out, how they were carried out, and get those information. You can even do this prior to engaging with the team to understand what tests they perform and how they perform. So I think that should give you some information.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thanks, James.
I think that's all the questions I saw.
Great. Okay, if there are no more questions, I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah, that sounds good. I
Sure, James.
appreciate your time, Ashritha.
Thank you very much, James. I knew having you would be very insightful.
It was my pleasure.